All right, so you're in the mood to write something. You're sitting down, you're like, I just feel like being creative. I want to get something out of my system. I want to get going, but I don't know where to start. Rather than sit here and stare off into the sky, what if there are some tools out there that you could use, some games actually, that you could use to get your creativity sparked, get you thinking about something cool and moving off in a direction so that you can start writing and also have some fun doing it. And so in the point of this video, what I want to talk about is some solo role-playing games or role-playing games with solo rules or modules that you can use to just sit down, be creative, make up your own story, and get going. So that's what we're going to talk about. My name is Michael Regina. I'm an author and illustrator of 2 graphic novels that are out there that you can check out. I write spooky books, and the first one is The Sleepover. It's been out for a little while and available wherever books are sold, and the most recent is Deepwater Creek. Yeah, both of them are out there. I'd love for you to check them out and let me know what you think of them. But on these videos, what I love talking about is helping you all discover this amazing world of role-playing games as a writer. Like, so gamers, you're welcome here too. But what I really want to talk about are people who are creative, who are looking for ways to exercise that creativity, see their potential in doing so, and have resources and tools that can help them make and create their own stories and their own ideas. And I have 3 games that I want to talk about today that I think cover sort of a wide gamut of different play styles and sensibilities, and so they're going to lean towards the more actiony, scary side of things, or fantasy, but I think you might find one of these to be cool. And even if you don't want to write a story within these genres, again, it's a really cool, fun experience to get one of these games, sit at home, like plop out, like, you know, sit down at a table with a notebook in this game and just allow yourself to be creative and see how it's like going to the gym, y'all. Like, but gym in like a fun way. Like, you know, you're gonna go and exercise these creative muscles, and you might actually come up with some really cool ideas in the process that you can use to create your own stories. And if not, man, you just have a great time. So 3 games I want to talk about. So first one's up. The first game I want to talk about is space horror. Space horror. So I love Alien, and I love Prometheus, and I love all sorts of you're in space and something terrible wants to kill you and you barely have a chance to survive. And the game I want to talk about is Mothership. So Mothership is a sci-fi horror role-playing game. The box set's about $60. You can get a free copy of just the player rules online though on DriveThru RPG. But the box set and everything is well worth it if you can swing it. The reason I want to talk about this game though is this game is not designed for solo play. There are not individual rules for solo play, but the game is amazing. It does such an awesome job of helping you tell a horror type story. So there's 2 things I want to talk about with it. One is the Warden Manual. The Warden Manual for this game is like the Dungeon Master Guide for Mothership. And I'm telling you guys, like, lots of people talk about this Warden Manual on the internet, and for good reason. The simple, like, process that it presents for creating a sort of sci-fi horror story, it's a fun thing. Like, even if you don't play the game and you just want to come up with an amazing premise for a sci-fi horror story, you could just sit down with a notebook and take like an hour and fill out the details. And 1, you'll have created a Mothership module, so if you ever want to run the game, like, you're ready to go. But 2, you'll have this awesome, like, plot framework for how a sci-fi horror story should work. So the main ingredients for the way it works that I think is dope is they have this this acronym within the story called TOMBS. And TOMBS it stands for transgression, omens, manifestation, banishment, and slumber. And what I love about this sort of 5-step process is, like, this sort of thing is horror to its core. It doesn't matter whether it's sci-fi, it doesn't matter whether it's cosmic horror or whatever. These sort of 5 elements are found in every sort of horror type story. And so if you can think about these stories in this way, you will outline a great sort of horror story. But what makes the Warden's Manual great is, like, you have tables you can roll up against. It gives you all sorts of resources to, like, I don't know, what is it going to be? You can roll against a table and have some interesting, like, starting scenarios, locations, threats that your characters could be dealing with. So it gives you, like, just all the tools, like on this, I'm sorry, I'm so excited because I love this Warden's Manual. Like I carry it with me all the time, but it actually walks you through how do you create a mothership scenario? How do you think about the plot, right? And even like how to bring in themes. So I will just sit at the table often and just make up a scenario because it's fun. Like it's just fun to stretch my brain. And there is a school of thought in the Save the Cat books called like a genre in there called Monster in the House. And a Monster in the House story always begins with a transgression, like a sin, a thing that you do that brings about this evil. Something like Alien, like they set foot on this planet and they're greedy and they go inside this ship and they're always doing something that leads to the problem. And then the omens, like what are the things that hint at the greater horror that's coming within the story? The manifestation, when the horror finally comes, so in the form of like the chest burster busting out of the player's chest, or the actor's chest, and killing him, and then the sort of banishment, the fight against the xenomorph on board the ship, and then slumber as the monster is ejected from the ship, but you know that's not the end of it, right? Or we've come to see that it's not the end of it. So like these 5 elements, the transgression, omens, manifestation, banishment, and slumber, you can apply those 5 to like any horror story and you're gonna get an interesting structure. And the great thing with this is you get some awesome inspiration that you can do for it, and you can modify that to anything that you want. Mothership is awesome. All right. So, but if you want to try Mothership, but you're like, that sounds really open-ended, I want to try it solo. I've been playing this thing for like the last, good little bit. I would pick it up and go like when I had time, and I'm trying to finish it right now because I'm in between projects and I kind of want to just get inspired again. This is called Thousand Empty Light. This is a module that was designed for Mothership to be played solo. You play a worker who is going to a underwater station on an alien planet where your job is to bring the station back up to maintenance and turn these lights back on throughout the entire facility and try to survive as you make it from one end to the other. And what I love about this is it is more open-ended than, say, like a solo journaling game in one sense, where like you are using your own inspiration to sort of like, okay, I'm in this room. This is the general idea of what's happening in this room, but I'm going to fill in the details. And it gives you like just a great framework to play a role-playing game solo. So like if that sounds really cool, like you could get this, it's pretty inexpensive, and you get the free manual online on DriveThruRPG and just try Mothership out. This is really awesome. I'm so close to finishing it. I've been constantly surprised by some of the things that have happened. Obviously, I love nautical horror and this sort of thing with creating Deepwater Creek, and it's just been a cool experience to go through it. The story's gone in some directions I didn't see coming, based on my own dice rolls, and then based on just the resources that are within it. It's really cool to sort of like play a movie experience, but your outcomes are so different than everybody else. So I can't recommend Mothership enough. Here's the top of it again. It's worth picking up. It's worth trying. Mothership is great. Keeping in that same sort of vein, I did a whole video series on this particular game, showing how to use it to write an outline, but I want to bring it back up again because it has its own solo rules that have been made for it. One of the great things about Free League, the publisher of this game is called Vaesen. I'm probably mispronouncing it. That's fine. I'm sorry. I'm doing my best. I'm an American. But it is sort of like X-Files, but with mythological creatures. And it's set in a sort of a more in the past type element. But you play investigators and hunters who are hunting out these mythological creatures and either trying to stop them or work with them to end sort of whatever the conflict is. But what I really enjoy about this game is that they made solo rules for the game specifically, and you can pick them up for pretty inexpensive. Here's like a real quick copy of it that I made. And again, the game provides a very like structured approach towards telling a mystery set within this world of stories. And I've had a lot of fun with this. In fact, I'm I'm working on a sort of small adventure mystery kind of monster series. And I've kind of gotten to the point now creatively when I'm thinking about a project that I go, oh, is there a game that I could grab off the shelf that will help me develop this idea more? Because even though as a writer, I often will follow my own structure and I don't necessarily want to play a game for the whole thing, having the game as a resource for whenever I get stuck is so useful, because I might be like making this investigative story and I'm like, oh, he's inside this house and he's investigating some sort of creepy thing. Gosh, what kind of clue could he find that would hint at whatever the monster is? And I can roll against a clues table. There's clues tables in here. Or what does that monster look like? Or what does that house look like? Or what is that character's attitude towards me? And if I'm ever stuck, I will use these resources to help get me unstuck. So I'm finding that, like, for me as a creative, there's like this in-between balance of I'm going to use the game when needed. I almost always actually create the character for whatever story I'm working on using a game like this, because it helps me understand my character. So I'll fill out the character sheet, go through the backgrounds, ask all the character creation questions, and by the end of that, I'm like, I have my character. Now I can sit down and play the game. Sorry, I'm off on a tangent. But Vaesen is, like I said, I love that the solo rules exist, because you can get this gorgeous game that is designed for group play. And one, the book is gorgeous, so just having it as an item is awesome. But then you can play a very structured sort of mystery with the solo rules. And you can have your own like solo role-playing campaign and make up your own stories. And I'm telling you, you will be a better storyteller at the end of playing through multiple sessions of this game than you were when you started. You just will. So I can't recommend Vaesen enough. It's Nordic horror role-playing. I'm hopefully been showing some images. It's a gorgeous book. The solo rules are awesome. I'd love to return to this game, maybe in a formal session on the channel, finish August Scythe's story. If you never watched this whole thing, there's a whole playlist where you can watch me talk about Vaesen and using some of it. Check out Vaesen. All right, and then moving off to something a little bit different, let's talk about some fantasy. So again, from Free League Publishing. Free League is awesome. They're building these solo rules into everything. Even the new release of the Alien RPG has solo rules built inside of it, so you can play the game. The Lord of the Rings game, The One Ring, has solo rules. And a game I want to talk about on this channel that they've sent me review copies for, and I haven't had a chance to really mess with it yet, is the Electric State. So the game based on what the movie that came out last year. So, or was that this year? Came out recently. But anyway, I want to talk about Dragonbane, because this is was a popular role-playing game in Sweden during the sort of the boom of Dungeons and Dragons. So this was like their version of Dungeons and Dragons. Free League picked it up, re-released the game, and the box set for it is like $50. It's a starter set, but it's amazing. You get, I'm going to flip it upside down because I put it upside down, but look at, you get a duck assassin. There's duck assassins. That's dope. But the box set comes with all sorts of like little standees you can play, a full set of dice, multiple maps and characters that are already pre-built. But the reason I want to bring up is it comes with an entire solo play module called Alone in Deep Fall Breach, and it is awesome. Like this has been a solo game that I've been playing with by more recently, like in the last few days. And my daughter's actually sat in, and she and I are playing it together now, just GM-less, like, because it's certainly slower because you both got to sit down and like discuss like what's happening and this sort of thing. But here's the thing that I like about it a lot is I'm gonna go into here, see if I can get the deep. Bear with me. I'm gonna make a mess. Was digging this out. My bad. The thing that I love about this is the process by which, whenever I play fantasy role-playing games solo, one of the things I really struggle with is like, what is the purpose of it? Am I just making up an epic fantasy? Am I playing it to make up a story? Am I playing it to play the game? Like, I just kind of want to have a gaming experience. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but so often what I sit down and I play is I'm playing this like very open-ended like this could be anything I want kind of experience. And this game gives you a pretty detailed, or not detailed, a very straightforward way of generating your own custom missions for playing solo. And like the rules are loose enough that you're going to have things that are unexpected, that the rules can let you figure out, and they're also going to give you enough like on rails to have like a plot hook so that you can reasonably finish the mission in a reasonable set of time. And I've been having a great time playing this game. It's really, really cool. The rule system is something that I'm getting used to still. It's kind of this weird like in-between hybrid of like Call of Cthulhu and Dungeons and Dragons, meaning like there's all these skill trees, but also you're rolling a d20 and you're trying to roll under. So it's an interesting blend of concepts. But it's well, if you love fantasy and you just want to have like a fun time playing in a fantasy world and making up monsters and doing all that sort of thing and flexing that muscle, I recommend Dragonbane tremendously. So check out Dragonbane. All right, so that is it. That's 3 games that I've been playing recently that I think you will benefit from if you're looking to play solo or using solo role-playing games as a storytelling tool so that you can get and improve your abilities as a storyteller. I think you'll have a blast with them. So some tips, I think what I'd love to do maybe in a future video is talk about some tips that I think would be helpful in using these to design and develop your own storylines. So maybe that's what I'll do next time. I was about to launch into it, but I'm like, I think that's a whole other video. So let's take some time and I'll kind of present to you all the things that I've found to be so helpful in using these tools as a resource to help me generate ideas. I've never been more creative in my life as far as creating stories and ideas and developing things than I've been since I discovered role-playing games and solo role-playing in particular. So I'd love to talk with you about it more. Let me know, have you tried any of these games? What have been your experience of them? Are you looking to try any of them out? Does some of them particularly speak to you and you think sounds dope? I'd love to hear more about it in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you all next time. Bye.